Now, I was thinking about this celebration. At every Bertzlaw family gathering, okay, if there is a Bertzlaw family gathering out there, we celebrate it with food. I mean, anybody else? There is always food, right? At every celebration, there's food. I mean, have you ever noticed these things that make you go, Do you ever notice, like, when you invite people over, you always stand around the kitchen? I mean, you have this beautiful living room, and nobody will go into the living room, right? You stand around the island in the kitchen. I mean, there's something to do with food. If you go on vacation, and I've been there, man, I can tell you exactly where to eat. Okay, if you go to St. Louis, you've got to go to Ted Drew's. Okay, have their homemade custard yogurt. If you go to, there's no other reason to go to St. Louis other than to go to Ted Drew's. All right, so you've got to go there and get something to eat. If you go to St. Louis, you got to go to Emo's. Uh-oh, I got St. Louis people over here shaking their heads at me already. If you go to St. Louis, you got to go to Emo's. It's the nastiest pizza you'll ever have. But people from St. Louis, they love it. They got this thing called Provel cheese, which is a blend of cheddar, Swiss, and provolone with some artificial smoke flavoring added to it just for good measure. Okay, but if you go to St. Louis, you've got to eat Emo's Pizza. If you go to Cleveland, it's Slyman's Deli for a corned beef sandwich. And right here in Gulfport, Florida, you've got to go to O'Matty's, right? You can't go wrong at O'Matty's. And I know people are going, well, it's just food. It's just food, but it's not. It's the family gathering celebrated around the food. I mean, think about it. You know, at Thanksgiving, my mom's homemade stuffing. Thanksgiving, Suzanne's homemade noodles. And me at Thanksgiving, my specialty is homemade cranberry sauce. I actually did this once. I actually put a can of cranberry sauce like that on a bed of lettuce with some carrots on it, and I presented it to my mother-in-law as being homemade. And I just told her, you just cut along the ridges. And she looked at me, and is anyone, anyway, so I don't think I ever cleared that up. But I mean, at Christmas time, I can remember as a kid at Christmas time, we would gather around a family, and we would celebrate around a meal, and then we would go to the 11 p.m. church service to usher in Christmas Day. I remember the first time I met my wife's family. We had dinner at their house. The first time I was invited to their house for dinner, I'm sitting at the dining room table, and the entire family is ready, they're excited, and then they put this down in front of my face. And I looked at it, it's grilled trout, but it's the whole trout. Its eyes were looking at me and everything, and I'm looking at this, I'm a city boy. It's like, what do you do with this? Their response was, you just eat it. Well, what do you mean? And so anyway, but it's the food reminds me of those special moments, right? They're family celebrations. Well, at first glance, when you look at the parable of the prodigal son, at first glance, it looks like the celebration is all because of the son's return. Remember, the son was practicing in his mind. He wanted to make restitution to his dad. You know, just make me like one of your servants. And the father is, no, you're not one of them. You're my son. See, the real celebration had to do with the father's faithfulness. The real celebration had to do with the father's love for both of his kids. See, the father said we had to celebrate. And when you look at that feast in the prodigal son, it is a picture of the great feast of God. And I think God uses the picture or the imagery of a feast that we gather around and we celebrate with food. We celebrate family. We use a picture of the feast because it's something that you and I can understand.